Good morning, and thank you for joining us for our weekly press conference. Today is Flag Day, a day when we commemorate the adoption of the Stars and Stripes as the official flag of the United States. I encourage you to display the American flag at your home or business every day, but especially today, especially once the rain stops. We have two topics today. First is the celebration of Juneteenth, which is on June 19th, and a reminder about related local events. Second is a celebration of World Refugee Day on June 20th and World Refugee Awareness Month during the month of June. We are featuring a Sudanese refugee who now owns her own business in Erie here today as well. You have often heard my vision for Erie. Erie is a community of choice. We celebrate our rich cultural diversity, our welcoming, vibrant neighborhoods, our world-class downtown and bayfront, our excellent education for everyone, and our abundance of good, family-sustaining jobs. When we talk about Erie's rich cultural diversity, one of the first things I think about always is celebrating Juneteenth. In a few minutes, I'll give you more details on the history of the day, June 19th, but briefly, Juneteenth commemorates the emancipation of African Americans. On June 19th, 1865, the final announcement was made in Galveston, Texas, which was the last area of the former Confederate States of America where slaves were freed under the terms of the 1862 Emancipation Proclamation. 158 years later in Erie, we celebrated Juneteenth to recognize how the descendants of those freed men and women used their talent, ideas, and hard work to make our communities better. In a moment, you'll hear more about this from three members of the Erie community who are also key organizers of local Juneteenth events. But I want to first mention what my administration is doing to enhance Erie's rich cultural diversity. My team and I are proud to see an increase since we took office in 2018 in the number of BIPOC, that means Black, Indigenous, people of color, the increase of BIPOC applicants taking the written and physical exams to become members of the police and fire departments. In addition, I have several advisory councils with direct inroads to the BIPOC community. These councils provide my administration with the opportunity to inform those constituents about city resources and community initiatives. They also make everyone aware of all the opportunities available here within city government. We have also focused our ARP funding grants to underserved communities who were most impacted by COVID-19. Here are some examples. First, in the restaurant category, 18.9% of grants to BIPOC communities. 37.8% of those grants went to women, and 10.8% went to refugees. Second, in the flagship grant category, 46.5% of grants went to the BIPOC communities. 53.4% went to women, and 8.2% went to refugees. Lastly, my team and I are currently committed to hiring Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Director to implement our DEI plan. Now I'd like to introduce PhD Rhonda Matthews, the Director of Grants and Research for Erie's Black Wall Street, which is a local nonprofit that identifies, recognizes, and supports Erie's Black-owned businesses. Rhonda will explain what is ahead in Erie's Black business communities as we celebrate Juneteenth. Rhonda, the floor is yours. Sorry.
Thank you, Mayor Schember. Thank you for having me here today. I bring greetings from the Executive Director and co-founder of Erie's Black Wall Street, Ms. Kyra Taylor, who could not be here today, but sends her regards. I also bring regards from our co-founders, Devonna Paisley and her spouse, Angelica Spragans, and our 9-member board of directors. Today, you're hearing a bit of history of Juneteenth. What was once a little-known historical fact is now a federal holiday. As Mayor Schember mentioned, on Juneteenth, we not only celebrate freedom, but we celebrate the community that our ancestors developed to endure the torture of slavery. We also celebrate the humanity that we were determined to have then and the full lives that we are determined to have now. I stand here before you, a descendant of Mary Florence Roberson, the last person in my mother's family to be enslaved. She was enslaved on a plantation in Oktibbeha County, Mississippi, She was freed from bondage after being sold from a plantation in South Carolina. It is because of her will to endure that I am here to tell you that Juneteenth is both a celebration and a dedication to family, community, and freedom's promise. As part of that promise, Erie's Black Wall Street and Erie's Juneteenth celebration have collaborated to remind us all of the joy that freedom brings. One coming event that I'd like to mention is the second annual Juneteenth Mixer. It brings together business owners and community members in fellowship and networking. That will be held on Friday, this coming Friday, June 16th, from 6 to 9 p.m. in the Miser Building, which is located at 21 West 10th Street. For more information, you can find it on eriesblackwallstreet.org or on Erie's Black Wall Street's Facebook page. Again, we would like to thank Mayor Schimber and Community Liaison Michael Outlaw, who is here with us today, for the opportunity to share our Juneteenth celebration and its history. We welcome everyone to be a part of this rich tradition. Thank you.
Great job, Rhonda. Thank you very much. You have reminded us of how important Juneteenth is and how we can make our community better with the will and determination born of the struggles of your ancestors and so many others. Next, I'd like to introduce Angela McNair. Angela is the organizer of Erie's Juneteenth celebration. No one can tell us more about Juneteenth than Angela can. Angela, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor, for having me here today to commemorate Juneteenth, and thanks also to Rhonda for her inspirational words. I'd like to echo what you both said about Juneteenth and add that in the many years since that day in Galveston, related annual Juneteenth celebrations have flourished across the United States. They typically include prayer, religious services, speeches, educational events, family gatherings, and picnics. Festivals with music, food, and dancing. Juneteenth has also become an opportunity for larger events that assist local minority-owned businesses to showcase their talents, services, and goods. In Erie, as a young woman who has always been involved in the community, I took the opportunity to follow leaders that hosted Juneteenth in the past and revive the moment that has been ongoing for years. Juneteenth started at Piper Burley Elementary School in 2013, and it moved to Roger Young Park and then the Booker T. Washington Center. However, this year's celebration will be in Perry Square with the help of the city's Public Works Department. The square will be shut down on Saturday for a celebration of culture, music, and support of local minority-owned businesses. So again, this year's main celebration will be held Saturday, June 17th from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Perry Square. The Breeze Band will be our headlining band, and UPMC Hammond is our presenting sponsor. We are also excited and grateful for our partnerships with the local Erie chapter of the NAACP, the Booker T. Washington Center, and Erie's Black Wall Street. Lastly, thank you again for your participation and collaboration, Dr. Matthews. Thank you.
Very much. Wow. Thank you very much, Angela. Really appreciate you sharing all that information. It's very, very exciting. Like my wife Rhonda, or like I'm sorry, the Rhonda that's here. I can't. Like Rhonda, you have been inspirational. I want to be part of this event, and I'll plan to stop by Perry Square around noon on Saturday, and I'll see you then. As long as Rhonda will let me go, the other Rhonda.
We'll ask your wife too.
That's a good idea. Thank you, thank you. Next, I'm honored to introduce Mabel Howard. She's the curator of Erie's Historical Institute of Culture and the African American Experience. Mabel Howard will say a few words about Juneteenth art show that she has planned. Mabel, welcome.
Thank you. Greetings all, and thank you, Mayor. The community is invited to join us as we kickstart Erie's Juneteenth Celebration Week with artistic works created for, by, or in honor of people of color. The Break Free Arts Exhibition and Show's opening reception will be tomorrow, June 15th. The opening reception starts at 5 p.m. and it will end at 8 p.m. Location 315 East 9th Street. Following the opening reception on Thursday, the show will be open to the public on Wednesdays, 11 a.m. to 5 p.m., and also by appointment for groups. Words can't truly express the quality of the talent that will be showcased on this day. The community is welcome to tour the exhibit and meet the artists. The show is brought to you by the Historical Institute of Culture and the African American Experience. A very special thank you to Bishop Curtis Jones and Pastor Vicki Jones, currently present, for their commitment to making the space available for this art show, as well as our larger vision to evolve the 9,700 square foot building into Erie's first African American museum. I'd also like to thank UPMC Hammett for being the main sponsor for our event.
Thank you very much, Mabel. I'm really looking forward to seeing what is featured at the show. To kick off this week's event, Juneteenth events, I will now read the proclamation recognizing the celebration of Juneteenth. Whereas, on the 19th day of June is nationally commemorated as Juneteenth. It is also known as Emancipation or Freedom Day. It is a symbolic date representing an historic milestone with our Black and brown communities, many of whom selflessly served the Erie community. Whereas we remember that in December 1865, slavery in America was formally abolished with the adoption of the 13th Amendment. Now, 158 years later, we still have the need for continued change as we work to make Erie a welcoming and safe community for everyone. Whereas Juneteenth celebrations are a tribute to those African Americans who fought long and hard to make the dream of equality become a reality. Whereas it is vital that residents of the city of Erie join together to acknowledge a time in our nation's history where we need to carry a torch and promote equality and celebrate our joy in the pursuit of life, liberty, and justice for each and every American. Whereas Erie's Juneteenth celebrations theme this year is We Are Better Together, a theme which my administration unequivocally stands behind. Now, therefore, I, Joseph E. Schember, Mayor of the City of Erie, declare the 19th day of June 2023 as Juneteenth Day in the City of Erie. We, as a collective group from all walks of life, are part of the victory. We celebrate the freedom of every resident. So let me present this to, yes. Thank you very much. I look forward to this celebration. Yes. You guys did a great job. So, I would like now to complete today's press conference by taking a few minutes for us to talk about another example of how we are building rich cultural diversity in Erie through our community of new Americans, refugees and immigrants as well. I attend the swearing in of about 500 new Americans every year at the federal courthouse. Juneteenth is not the only thing we celebrate in June. There is also World Refugee Awareness Day. In fact, on the day after Juneteenth, which is June 20th, we celebrate World Refugee Day. I will now introduce Nanda Chawan, Financial Coordinator for Erie's Office of the U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants, to talk about World Refugee Day and give us more insight into that. Nanda, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mayor, for having me here and for recognizing the World Refugee Day and the World Refugee Awareness Month. It is an honor to be here today. I was a former refugee from Bhutan. The first time I celebrated World Refugee Day, it was in a refugee camp in Nepal. But today, I'm here in Erie and celebrating World Refugee Day with the rest of the world as a US citizen. Here is some background on the World Refugee Day. This information comes from the United Nations Commission for Refugees. World Refugee Day falls every year on the June 20th. It is dedicated to refugees around the globe who have been forced to flee from their communities. World Refugee Day was officially designated as an international day by the United Nations General Assembly. It was held globally for the first time 22 years ago on June 20, 2001. This year's World Refugee Day theme from the United Nations is Hope Away from Home. This is appropriate for the refugees who are coming to Erie now as they escape war, violence, and persecution in their home countries. The U.S. Committee for Refugees and Immigrants in Erie is currently resettling people from the following countries: Afghanistan, Burundi, Democratic Republic of Congo, Guatemala, Myanmar, Syria, and Ukraine. In the last 12 years, the USCRI Erie Field Office, which was founded as the International Institute, has resettled nearly 5,000 refugees in Erie. We are proud of that, and we look to help more refugees and immigrants make Erie their new home, where they can build new lives with a sense of safety and dignity like so many others who have come here in generations before. So we honor Erie's refugees and the contribution they make to our community, and we are so proud that Erie continues to be a welcoming city. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nanda, for that history lesson and for the reminder about the USCRI Erie is doing to help settle refugees and immigrants here and to make Erie our better community. Now I'd like to turn it over to Kelly Armour, the folklorist for residents at Erie Arts and Culture, for some more information. Kelly, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm honored to be on the stage here with so many community leaders who have had such an inspirational message to share. As Erie Arts and Culture is an organization dedicated to promoting and celebrating arts and culture in Erie, we celebrate the creativity, ingenuity, and hard work of Erie's new Americans. We call them new Americans because they are no longer refugees. They are now part of the fabric of our community here. Their cultures enrich us, and they are also a powerful economic engine for the city. Because of that, Erie Arts and Culture is releasing its 5th annual refugee-owned business directory on World Refugee Day, June 20th, the international day to recognize and celebrate the resilience and positive impact of displaced people who must start over. The guide is still in production, but here is what last year's guide looked like. And it's got 70-some businesses in it. The new directory will be posted on erieartsandculture.org on Tuesday, June 20th. The markets in the directory include food markets, hair salons, restaurants, home repair, trucking, phone repair, other vital services. One of the businesses featured in the new directory is Nile River Services. It's a newly established corporate janitorial company. It is owned by Afaf Kormona and 2 other Sudanese women. For years, they have been cleaning offices all over Erie with different cleaning companies. Now, they are taking control of their futures and are working for themselves. And Afaf is here today, and I have one of the shirts that their cleaning crews wear while on the job. So, Afaf, why don't you come say a few words?
Hello, everyone. My name is Afaf Kormona, and I am from Sudan. I came to Erie, Pennsylvania 19 years ago. 2 of my friends and I decided to open our cleaning business and called Nile River Services. We make that name for Nile River services, not only for 3 of us, but it's for all refugees who come to here, because it's for unit and represent where we come from. Thank you.
Thank you also very much, Kelly and Afaf. How awesome it is to hear that one of our new Americans is also co-owner of a new Erie business. Erie is better off because you are here. Thank you very much. Before we conclude, we received also a proclamation from Governor Shapiro, and I'd like to read that to you as well. Whereas violence, persecution, and death have forced more than 103 million people around the world to leave their homes, whereas World Refugee Day was established by the United Nations 22 years ago to commemorate the UN Convention regarding the status of refugees. Whereas William Penn founded the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania as a place for religious freedom, tolerance, and inclusion. Whereas when vulnerable and displaced individuals sought refuge from violence and oppression, Pennsylvania welcomed them here. Whereas in the last decade alone, the Department of Human Service Refugee Resettlement Program has served over 34,000 people in Pennsylvania seeking a safe, welcoming new home. Whereas the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania continues to embody the ideals of World Refugee Day and is dedicated to the 2023 theme by offering hope away from home for the displaced. Whereas over the past years especially, Pennsylvania's refugee service contractors have worked tirelessly to prepare for and welcome people into Pennsylvania after being displaced from their homes in Afghanistan, Ukraine, Haiti, and other places experiencing violence and hardship around the world. Whereas the inclusion of refugees in our communities makes these communities stronger and shows the world that Pennsylvania is a beacon of hope and freedom for all who hope to achieve better lives. Now, therefore, I, Josh Shapiro, Governor of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim June 20th, 2023 as World Refugee Day to encourage all citizens, government agencies, public and private institutions, businesses, and schools to reiterate our Commonwealth's commitment to always stand with and welcome refugees. So I'm very proud of that and glad that the Governor sent it to us. Now, that concludes this week's press conference. Please continue to follow us on social media for the latest updates on everything happening in the city of Erie. Everyone who spoke is now available for interviews. Thanks very much for all of you for being here, and thanks for everyone that watched as well.